Does a DPO has anything to do with data security? Well, I think we have spoken a lot about DPO roles and responsibilities and the role of security and privacy. Let's discuss a combination where DPO and security are actually important and how are they very relevant. Welcome to my YouTube channel where you daily see a new content on data privacy. So, what is the interconnect between DPO and security? A DPO itself, the basic idea is that he has to make sure that the privacy of users who have trusted with their data to the organization is well maintained, and therefore he cannot go without security. We talked about DPO's qualifications. DPO does not necessarily need to be a security person, may not even be an IT person, but he has to have that mental framework where he thinks he needs a set of things or a set of principles defined by compliances to get implemented in the system with the IT and security team to ensure that security is taken care of when personal data is being handled by an organization. It's his prime responsibility to ensure that there is a compliance with respect to privacy, right? But then, with respect to privacy, is not necessary security, but privacy cannot go without security. He needs to ensure that legal obligations and data protection principles are very well met in the organization where he is acting as a DPO. His key areas of focus are risk management, breach management, privacy by design embedded into all the components of system, and the moment we say embedded, top of all the components, processes, we reach back to the IT and security systems, and vendor security. So let's just briefly touch upon each of these topics in this video. So when it comes to risk management, he should regularly perform DPIAs, the data protection impact assessments, identify and analyze whatever security risks he is having and work with his own security teams within his organization. Actually, we are very keenly talking of IT security, but then he also has to work with the non-IT security as well, because if the paper is on the table or if the office and the office access is easily available because there is no security guard or no checking on what kind of people are entering into the complex, then that could also lead to breach. So he has to actually work with both kinds of security teams, IT and non-IT. But for the sake of discussion, we are more concerned about the IT one right now. He should ensure that there is only authorized access, very strong encryption used, and proactive data protection mechanisms are involved so that he can reduce long-term risk. And to do all that, is security required? Yes. The CIA tried. Confidentiality, integrity, availability is very much required over here. He should do regular audits to ensure that he is able to meet the compliances. Then comes data breach management. Now breach has happened. It's his job to identify, classify incident into a breach. That's one part of his job. It does not end up over there. He has to report back with the impact of the breach. He has to find the mitigation plan and report back to the regulators as well as to users with both the impact as well as the mitigation plan. Okay, so now what does he do then? Does he work with security? Well, there are timelines with each compliances, so his speed of identifying breaches and impacts is also very critical. Does he need to work with security? Yes, he needs to work with security. Security practices can help him reduce the chances of risk and breach, but even if breach has happened, it is security team who has to help him detect the breach, why it happened, what all went wrong, what is the type of data that has gone wrong, because when he is able to define the type of data that has gone wrong, then only he can define the impact to the data subjects as well as to the regulator and create a mitigation plan. So his involvement with security team is very high, again with physical and IT both, but his involvement with security team is very high even when he has to manage the breach that is there in an organization. Privacy by design says every process of the organization has privacy elements built into it. So he has also to be ready with it. He has to ensure that each and every process, wherever personal information is being used, is all embedded, surrounded by PYD principles. So systems are ready from initial setup itself. Does he need security help? Yes, obviously. Encryption is to keep the data secure, anonymization, data minimization, minimize, don't collect anything extra, and access control to data, which is very important, right? It should not be that the security has allowed access to anyone and everyone who may or may not be authorized or who may or may not be relevant to the purpose of collection that information or in the processing of that information. Good working with security team and embedding everything into the design of each of the process will help him reduce the risk of the breach. Then comes vendor and third party accountability. He is accountable for vendor compliances. He has to ensure that vendors are complying for data protection, and he needs to review all the vendor security practices. Not only in his own organization, but because he is dealing with third parties, he has to ensure that the third parties are very secure. You can say that they are also imbibed into principle privacy by design and other security and privacy principles. And there's an important fact: if the third party is processing personal information of your customers, which is even sensitive, then he has to be very alert and vigilant and has to take care of things very well. Data encryption and anonymization are critical aspects of this. Storage should be very secure. So there's no harm that you go to your third party vendor and check these things, perform their reviews, perform their audits. You have to review their contracts. If it is overseas, you have to put in SCCs. We discussed these in the previous modules on third party dealing with the DPOs. And then breach reporting is also an important part that the third party and sub third parties have to perform. So vendor security is a very critical aspect of breach management and data privacy. Overall, as I conclude, security and privacy work hand in hand. Privacy can't go without security, and security has a lot to learn from privacy and DPO people. Security does not only mean installing a firewall and only allowing some access to come in, some access not to come in. It's not about buying large firewalls. It's about monitoring the regular access, auditing of data storage practices, managing your security threats, keeping your systems patched, implementing new security systems, ensuring vulnerabilities are taken care of, and getting into improvements, continuous improvements in each security measure. DPO and securities need to collaborate and work in hand to hand to give the overall productive privacy compliance to the organization from compliance point of view, as well as to ensure that the data user is safe. Data subject does not come back to you with a breach or does not feel insecure while working with your organization, because that's what helps building brand and building customer trust. So that's what I wanted to talk about, the DPOs and the security aspects along with privacy aspect. I hope you like the content, so you can press the like and bell icon. Share my content with your friends whom you think would be interested in knowing things about data privacy. Subscribe to my channel, encourage your friends also to do that, and share your feedback in the comment section so that I can improvise on my content on a regular basis. Thank you.